The top worst plane crashes in history. Hi, welcome to our channel. Today we list out the top worst plane crashes in history. Before we start, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. Number 1, Turkish Airlines Flight 981. Turkish Airlines Flight 981, March 3, 1974, fatalities 346. This picture is of the actual aircraft involved in the crash. The plane was carrying 335 passengers and 11 crew. It crashed in the Ermenonville forest north of Paris, after taking off from Orly Airport. The flight was bound for London Heathrow, en route from Istanbul. 10 minutes into the flight, the rear left cargo door blew off due to a problem with the hatches. Aviation safety investigators found out that the cargo door was not securely fastened, thereby causing an explosive decompression in the cabin and severing cables linking the flight deck with the aircraft's elevators, rudder and 2 engines. Number 2, KLM Flight 4805 and PanAm Flight 1736 collision. The Tenerife Airport disaster, March 27, 1977. Fatalities, 583. This deadly crash involved a collision of 2 flights U-grade KLM Flight 4805 and PanAm Flight 1736, which collided at the Tenerife North Airport, formerly Los Rodeos. Both were Boeing 747s. It was a foggy day, neither of the 2 aircraft were supposed to be at Los Rodeos. Both flights were diverted to the airport. The collision occurred when the KLM aircraft attempted to take off without clearance, while the PanAm aircraft was still taxiing along the same runway, having missed its turn to leave. There were no survivors. Number 3, American Airlines Flight 191. American Airlines Flight 191, May 25, 1979. Fatalities 272. The DC-10 left Chicago O'Hare on the Friday afternoon of Memorial Day weekend. But its left engine detached from its wing and the plane fell off, rolling in the air and then crashing a mile from the runway. The plane burst into flames and smoke immediately. All 271 people on board died, 2 others died on the ground. Number 4, Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 163. 301. What happened? Saudi Flight 163 took off from Riyadh, en route to Jeddah, only to return to Riyadh minutes later for an emergency landing after a fire started in the cargo department. However, when the plane landed, instead of initiating an emergency evacuation, the pilot taxied the aircraft back towards the airport, stopping on the runway for nearly 3 minutes. It then took some 23 minutes to access the aircraft once the engines were stopped. By the time the doors were opened, all on board had died from smoke inhalation. Number 5, Air India Flight 182. Air India Flight 182, June 23, 1985. Fatalities, 329. Deemed the deadliest terror attack involving a plane at the time, the Air India Boeing 747 crashed off the coast of Ireland en route from Toronto to Sihar International in India, after a bomb placed in the cargo hold by Sikh extremists Babur Khalsa exploded over the Atlantic. The passenger responsible is believed to be M. Singh, who checked himself onto the flight, along with a suitcase, but did not board. A second bomb intended to go off in tandem on another flight exploded early in the terminal building at Narita Airport, Japan. Number 6, 190,108 Japan Airlines. Japan Airlines Flight 123, August 12, 1985. Fatalities 520. The crash involved a Boeing 747 into Mount Takamagahara in central Japan. Just 4 survived when the aircraft spiraled out of control, its wing clipping a mountain ridge, before flipping and landing on its back, following an explosive decompression towards the rear of the plane, the result of a faulty repair job 7 years earlier. Pilots were able to keep the plane in the air for 32 minutes after the mechanical failure before crashing into a mountain. 4 passengers, all female, survived. Number 7, Iran Air Flight 655. Iran Air Flight 655. July 3, 1988. Fatalities, 290. This is a picture of an Airbus A300 similar to the aircraft involved in the incident. The Airbus A300, a civilian airline, was shot down by surface-to-air missiles fired from U.S. military cruiser USS Vincennes, killing all on board. The flight was in Iranian airspace, over Iranian territorial waters and on its usual flight path, yet, according to the U.S. government, Vincennes mistook it for an F-14A Tomcat fighter plane. Crew on the American ship made 10 attempts to contact the Iran Air aircraft on military and civilian radio frequencies, with no response, before firing. In 1996 the U.S. government and Iran reached a settlement at the International Court of Justice, the former expressing deep regret over the loss of lives. Number 8 Charkie Dodd Midair collision. Charkie Dodd Midair collision, November 12, 1996. Fatalities, 349. This is the world's deadliest mid-air crash that involved Saudi Flight 763 and Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907 over the city of Charkie Doddri in northern India. The Saudi-operated Boeing 747 was bound for Dodd from Delhi while the Kazakhstan Airlines Ilyushin 276 was bound for Indira Airport from Shymkent when they collided, killing 312 people on board the former and 37 on the latter. The crash occurred after the Ilyushin aircraft was cleared to descend to 15,000 feet, but then descended past that level to 14,500 feet while the 747 was ascending in the opposite direction.